We're going to be hosting these shows once a week. And today we have the privilege and the honor of having the one and only Mariano Martinez with U.S. Century Bank. So Mariano, welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Pleasure to be here.
Hey, so we're going to get right into it. Tell me a little bit about you and your career, your education background, your professional experiences, what you do currently.
So I'm a Miami person. I've been here since basically I was 3 years old. I went to Catholic school here, St. Kevin in Miami, and of course, then I went to Columbus High School, which I'm very proud of. I also stayed local for college, and I went to FIU. So I've been through the community. Grew up in Coral Gables, and now live in Pinecrest. So those experiences, just being in the community have kind of helped shape, more or less where I am today. And then, of course, I have my beautiful wife, Maite, my two kids, which I'm very proud of, Mateo and Marco.
Where are your kids in school right now?
So my youngest, Marco, is at Epiphany. He's 8 years old. And my 13-year-old, Mateo, is at Belen.
Oh, so sweet. So Miami guy through and through. And then just talk to me a little bit about how you got into banking. Where did you start and how did you work your way through that field?
So I've been in the financial field for about 25 years, basically even since I was in college. I started working at an accounting firm while I was in college part-time. I got my degree in business management and studied a lot of accounting and finance, and just started through there. I stayed working in accounting the first couple of years of my career, and then I switched over, did some financial planning work, and then I basically went into the mortgage business my family had. My family had a company named Consolidated Mortgage that had been open since the 80s. So I got involved in that shortly after, and just using my relationships in the community and in real estate and in my career thus far, I was able to help grow my company. Then, of course, a lot of the boom came in the housing market, so that business did very well. And then on the end of it, we all know what happened in 2008. So
Right.
a lot of that changed. So I made a quick flip over into banking at the time. I went over to start working for Wachovia once the market had kind of settled.
My goodness, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, which is now Wells Fargo.
Right.
So the beginning of my banking career started there, just the beginning of 2009. I was just there for a year, and I moved over to City National Bank. I worked there for almost 7 years. And then, I had the opportunity to come over to U.S. Century Bank and, where I am today, obviously. And I've been there for almost 5 years, and we've really made a great progress in the community just to build that bank to one of the best community banks here in South Florida.
And that's huge. And that's really important. The community banks being pillars in our community, and U.S. Century Bank has done an amazing job with that. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do at U.S. Century Bank? I know it says Senior VP at U.S. Century Bank. So explain what that role is.
So I am a Senior Vice President at U.S. Century Bank. I do business development. So basically what that means is I'm more of like a private banker that deals with generating business from small businesses and professionals in the community. So I deal with day-to-day a lot of relationships and relationship building with small businesses, attorneys, doctors, CPAs, those type of professionals who really need the help of a community bank, whether it be just day-to-day so that they can talk to people and have things resolved or done on a personal basis, or helping them grow with financing to purchase their own real estate, to have lines of credit for their businesses, and help them grow as their businesses grow in our community.
And that's huge. With community banks, you're more than just an account number. You're a person, and there's that relationship, and there's that connection to your banker and to your clients. So that's really important. So speaking of relationship building, what a great segue. Let's talk a little bit about Chamber South, because I know that you've been hugely involved with our organization for quite some time now, I think almost 8 years. So tell me how you got involved with Chamber South.
So with Chamber South, I mean, you might know even better than me, but I think I started about 2012.
12, yes.
2012, so that's right. So
Yeah.
I was introduced to people from the Young Professionals Committee of Chamber South, while I was working at City National Bank, and I, created a bond instantly with some of the members at the time. And part of my job is definitely creating relationships, networking, and that's always been a big part of what I've done, whatever title or job I've held throughout my career. And just nurturing those relationships just helps me build my book of business, my portfolio, and all the things that I do day to day. And I just found Chamber South to be the place where I wanted to spend my time. I really like the community, the warmth, and the feel that the organization had. So I became a member of some of the committees. I helped with the Young Professionals Committee, then helped lead it 1 year, and then eventually got onto the board, and then was the chairman last year for Chamber South.
So Mariano has a tendency to do this. He's downplaying a lot of the things that he does. I mean, he is a Miami guy through and through. He's extremely well connected to our community. Everyone knows Mariano Martinez. And with his experience with Chamber South, Mariano joined our board, I believe, in 2017. And fiscal year 2019, 2021, he was chair of our organization. So in less than 3 years, he ascended through our ranks, went from being a board member to being on our executive committee to chairing the organization in less than 3 years. And that's a true testament to the kind of person that you are, and your leadership and your determination and your diligence. And so we greatly appreciate that. I know very, very appreciated and loved at Chamber South. So just to continue on the Chamber South part of things, what are some of, obviously you've been deeply involved with our organization. What are some of why did you pick Chamber South, first and foremost, out of all the other chambers and organizations out there? And then what are some of the personal benefits that you've seen in being a member of a Chamber of Commerce?
So being a part of Chamber South, I've visited and been a part of different chambers. I've gone to Coral Gables Chamber, Miami-Dade Chamber, and other chambers around the city. Visiting Chamber South just felt like home to me instantly. Since it's a little bit of a smaller chamber, I just thought it fit me better. I thought it was a better way for me to create relationships inside of Chamber South, and helping the areas which I live and work in was important to me as well. So I think it's important to have community, of course, make connections and get visibility out of a chamber. So I think all the boxes were checked as far as those three things. So I've been working in the Pinecrest or South Miami area for almost the last 10 years. So just being able to connect with people in those direct communities, and where I live, it's important to me. I've been able to create connections with elected officials and other people in the community. So just by being chair and ascending to that rank, and being able to share in relationships and doing things that will help where I live, like I said, it's just it's very rewarding to me.
Yeah, local economic growth and development, that's what we strive for, is making sure that you make an impact and a difference in the community where you live, work, and play. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about banking, because that's what we're here to talk about, U.S. Entry Bank,
Sure.
in that field. And the hot topic in banking right now is obviously PPP funding. We're on our second draw. So just tell me a little bit about that. How much money is available? How is the process different this time than the first time? I know the first time it was very rushed, and there was almost this fear of running out of funding and that sort of thing. Are we seeing those same challenges and concerns the second time around? What's going on with that?
So with the second round of funding, there's challenges because things are just dropped and released out there, and everybody's scrambling, on the bank side and on the SBA side to be able to get funds into very needed hands, which is the small businesses in our community. It's a little different this time because there's some different qualifiers. But right now I think there's $284 billion that was set aside for the second draw of PPP. The money is running out slower, so a lot of people are very panicked or anxious about the money running out. Obviously you want to try and get the money as soon as you can, but with the changes, the SBA is taking a little bit more time to review things. So not all people are able to apply this second time, but it's a very hectic time. But we're working very hard. I think we've taken over 500 applications already for over $44 million. So we're well on our way to helping our clients, which is our priority first, and working through any of the issues with communication with the SBA, so that we can get everybody their funds like we did last time.
So, couple of things. You said that not everyone's able to apply. So I know that if you did or didn't get the first draw, are you still eligible? If you didn't get it on the first round, are you still eligible on the second round?
Yes. You can apply for the first time this time around, but of course, anyone that got the money the first time wants to try and apply the second time. The big difference this time is there's a revenue number that has to be looked at. So if a business has gone down in revenue 25% or more, 2020 because of the pandemic versus 2019, they're able to qualify. They can qualify by either an annual change of 25% or more, or a quarter change. So if, let's say, the second quarter of 2020, you went down by 25% in revenue, that quarter, you're just going to compare it to the same quarter of 2019. And either or of those qualifiers will get you qualified this time. Got
it. And that's huge, because I know a lot of our small businesses, especially during the second quarter of 2020, were closed and shut down and really suffering from revenue losses. Okay, so those are some of the challenges that are being faced with the PPP funding right now.
I'll also mention that people in certain industries like restaurants, hospitality, and that there are certain industries who are also getting even more money than the first time. They're getting 3.5 times their monthly payroll instead of 2.5 times their monthly payroll. So
wow, okay.
So there's extra help for those who are a little bit more in need, who were affected more by
and that's restaurant or service industry?
Yes.
Okay, that's really good to know. I had a question on the top of my head and I forgot. Oh, so what advice would you give to small businesses or anyone that's applying for PPP funding? What would you say to them?
I would just ask them to check with their CPAs or accountants. Really make sure that they have that revenue number where they're going to be able to prove it. You don't have to document it immediately at time of application, but you need to know that you're going to be able to document it. If it's under $150,000, if it's over $150,000, then you need to document it accordingly. But I mean, all else more or less remains the same.
And be patient. Be patient with your bankers. Be patient with the process, because it's definitely, I know that the SBA they're taking more time to review the applications this time around.
Correct.
The first time it was very much, let's get the money into the hands of the businesses. Now it's just be patient, please. But there's still opportunities, because I know that when PPP funding for the second draw first opened, community banks were given a head start a little bit. They had a few extra days before it was released to some of the bigger banks. And I know that if anyone out there is thinking that they missed the jump, or that they didn't get their application in that first week or the first few days, they might think, oh, well, why bother going through all of that trouble? But you're saying that there's still opportunity and chances to apply.
Of course.
Yeah.
So
the money's still there. Hasn't run out.
The money's still there. People can apply, I believe, until March 31st. So there's time to apply. Some people are, spending extra time making sure they qualify, or waiting for documents from their CPAs or accountants.
Got it.
But so it's been around just for a couple of weeks, but there's plenty of money still available currently. So we're hoping that the money will last into March. Or till the end of the deadline, but of course you never know. So so the sooner the better, but there's not the same rush, or the money ran out so quickly the first time.
So here's a loaded question, if you will. I know, again, in the first run of PPP funding, one of the challenges that a lot of small businesses were facing were that they couldn't get applications through with the financial institution that handled their payroll, which I think was one of the qualifiers. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but then certain banks and certain institutions were allowing non-clients to apply through them. Is that something that U.S. Century Bank did in the first round, and are you doing it again the second round?
So we're handling it close to the same. So the first round, we took care of our clients. We were able to get them all their funds. We then opened it up to non-clients, especially when kind of the second time of the first round came through, and we focused on non-clients at the time. This time, since it's not so rushed, we're going to have the ability to open it up to non-clients. Since we've worked on all these applications and we're working through the end of them, we of course want to service our clients first and get them their money. So we're finalizing that. So we're hoping that very soon we're going to be able to start working with non-clients and help them if they're having issues at their financial institution, or if they need advice or help to try and get those applications through. We're happy to do it.
That's great. That's good to know for anyone that's listening and having some difficulty maybe going through this application process, or they're applying for the first time. One of the avenues or opportunities is to reach out to, in the next few weeks, reach out to U.S. Century Bank and see if they can assist with that process. Because that's what we're here to do, obviously, is help our community, make sure that our small businesses get the resources that they need to get them through. I mean, the pandemic is not over. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but our small businesses are still struggling a lot.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's what we're here for. So talking about small businesses, talking about, how community banks can help small businesses, what resources or initiatives does U.S. Century Bank have in place, COVID aside, just in general? Why should a small business or even an individual look at doing business or banking with U.S. Century Bank?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, community banks serve the purpose to really help small businesses, like I mentioned before, and grow those relationships. So in a smaller community bank, and we're a very well positioned mid-sized community bank, it really is the best choice, I believe, for a small business owner, for a professional to deal with, seasoned bankers one-on-one. They have a lot of needs day to day for their business, where, if our opinion is, if you're in a larger bank, you're just not going to get the attention day to day, when you have emergencies, when you have issues to go ahead and take care of. I mean, we're there, phone call, text away. There's a lot of person-to-person interaction, not the 1-800 number type things. I mean, people have my cell phone numbers. My staff's always reachable. So those kind of personal experiences, one-on-one for the business owner or for the professional, are highly important. And as you grow your business, you need people that will be a friend, who will give you advice, who will connect you with individuals in the community or locally to help you. And then when it comes to needing financing for a business, whether it be they be purchasing an office, they needing some sort of line of credit or way to get money for their business so that they can grow, understanding those businesses, knowing them locally, being able to talk to decision makers in the financial institution at the bank, like we are right here. Those conversations happen, day to day. And we have a lot of very experienced bankers who have been in South Florida banking for 10, 20, 30 years. And that experience, translates into business owners, getting an advantage, because, they're not going through red tape at a large bank. We're able to express, if we need to take our CEO out to meet a client, I mean, and it warrants it, we will get him out there. He will meet, the people in the bank to help make good decisions, so that, obviously we know our clients, we know who we're dealing with, but we're able to take extra steps to help them grow.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway is with community banks, again, you're a person, and you have that connection, you have that personal relationship. And I know a lot of people, they do have your cell phone number, and then working with you so closely for the past almost 4 years, seeing your dedication to your clients and knowing that they can reach out and that you'll do everything to help them, that's incredibly important.
Oh, and you see those relationships, and you see the appreciation from many clients, and they, sometimes at first they don't understand, but I mean, it was never more evident than with the PPP funding the first time around, when they had their money and they had their colleagues in other banks scrambling, not knowing if they would get their money, not being able to talk to people to understand what status their application was in, or just flat out were told that their bank wasn't going to be participating or allowing them to go ahead and apply for the PPP funding. So that really changed the mindset of many people. So I mean, that was an advantage definitely for community banks such as ourselves, and we were really able to roll up our sleeves, go out there, and spend a lot of time helping them. And just out of that, we've benefited from making a lot of new great relationships, that are going to benefit us. And you see how those clients do appreciate what we've done for them.
Yeah, I think, and that was, like you said, that was a huge result of the first wave of PPP funding. People seeing how important it is to have that relationship with your banker. You think, oh, bank, it's kind of automatic, and it's so automated, and everyone thinks that the system is so automated when you're with a larger bank. Right. But with a community bank, it's really that personal touch and having that person that's going to fight for you and have your back and make sure that they do everything possible to know that you're going to succeed. That wraps up my line of questioning. Mariano, if there's anything that you would like to discuss or talk about with U.S. Century Bank, or if there's anything that I didn't touch on, definitely let me know.
Okay. No, I mean, U.S. Century Bank is definitely here to service the community. I, for myself, can stand next to the fact that I'm, I believe I'm one of the best in the business as far as banking and helping business owners get what they want to achieve with their business and have a great relationship. Any client in my portfolio gets the attention they deserve, and I just hope to keep doing that for them and others, and continue to help our bank thrive going forward.
For how many, for those people that are maybe considering switching to U.S. Century Bank or opening an account with U.S. Century Bank, how many locations do you have here in the Miami-Dade area?
So we have 11 locations total. We have, I believe, 10 in Miami-Dade County. So we're spread all around Miami-Dade. So I mean, you'll find us as far up as Aventura, all the way down here to my office near Dadeland and in between. So we're definitely out there in the community, and all the things that banks have nowadays, apply to us as well. Mobile banking. Being able to make deposits on your phone and things, electronically, that make things easier for you with technology. We have all those things, but the personal touch is definitely what we pride ourselves on. And
that's a good item to note as well too, is that a lot of people think community banks and they're not as equipped or as technologically advanced as some of your bigger banks, but that's not the case. Community banks are just as equipped and have the same technological resources available as some of the bigger banks. That's and perfect. You have that opportunity to do mobile banking, et cetera, et cetera. So that's great. Again, Mariano Martinez with U.S. Century Bank. We're so thrilled. This is where I get really confused. I don't know which camera to look at. This one. Okay. Mariano Martinez with U.S. Century Bank. We're so thrilled to have you. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, we do these shows weekly, Chamber South Spotlight. So if you're a member of Chamber South and you want to be featured, please reach out to us and we would love to have you on. Thank you so much.